G'day everyone, today we're tackling mobs dropping items in a style similar to Commander Keen 6. I'm Dazza and I make video games. Now I'm also creating videos to show art and programming processes and helpful tidbits. If that sounds like your cup of tea, subscribe to be notified when a new video comes out and help a bloke out and drop a like. Cheers! Alright, let's get into it. First, we'll look at the inspiration and reference, then we'll jump into Godot and look at the code. Finally, we'll make a sound effect to play when the mob drops an item. Dropping items. So how did Keen 6 do it? Some levels had these little monsters called blueglets, which came in 4 colours, the same colours of the gems or keys used to open doors. In certain levels, the blueglets would drop a gem when defeated. We're going to expand this idea to allow any monster to drop any collectible in the game. Alright, here we are on the collectible item based script. So the two functions that are mainly controlling our system are these two, setup droppable and drop. So this function setup droppable will be called by the entity that will be holding the item. So when it's called, we're going to disconnect its area body entered signal. Because normally when they spawn in, the items spawn in on the level, they've got their own area which gets triggered when the player touches them. With this kind of system, we want to turn that off. Next, we're setting up a reset timer, and this reset timer is for those cases where the item is spawned in somewhere unreachable. We need to move the item back to a position where the player can get the item. This might happen if the item gets spawned in a wall, or if the item gets spawned off a cliff, where if you tried to collect it you'd die. This will put it back to its original place. Next, the item removes itself from the tree, because the reference to the item will be on the entity that is calling this function, so we're all good there. Okay, next, this will also be called by another node or another entity which will send itself in as a parameter. So the item will set its position to its parent position plus an offset, and this will cater for any entity that is of a different size. Something that might be larger will spawn the item a little bit differently than an enemy that is really small. The parent will add this item back into the tree as a sibling of itself. Here we're playing the audio for the drop. Next, we are animating the position with a tween to go up 24 pixels over 0.6 seconds. We wait for the tween to finish before moving on to here, where we start the timer that we set up, and then also we allow the pickup to happen by reconnecting to the body entered signal. Next, let's have a look at the enemy. So here in the ready function, we are checking if there's been an item assigned in the inspector. So we've got that. And so we're going to call this setup help item function deferred, because we're going to make sure it sets itself up before it tries to set up anything else, otherwise there'll be some problems. This is going to call that function that we were looking at just before. And that's all the enemy has to do. The item will take care of itself. So if I choose an enemy, I can set its held item here. And this ammo is this instance here. There are some items that have certain properties, such as like the keys. The keys have different colors, which are set in the inspector. Right here I can set the key color like this. Now, if we were to instantiate a key instead of having one spawned in, we'd have to make a function to allow that to happen. And that's not too difficult, but the problem is it's going to be really annoying. I think it's a lot easier just to have an item already in the level that we assign to a monster. And in fact, that works well for resetting their position. So for example, if let's say the monster had this key here, and we killed this monster and the key got stuck in the wall, like this or something like that, I don't know. The reset timer would put it back to here where it spawned in. You know what, let's just give this a try. There it is, look at that, lovely. So let's see what happens with the reset now. Cue time skip. Good, and it looks like it's teleported back to where it should be. Next, I'd like to introduce you to ChipTone. It's a simple sound effects generator, perfect for retro games. It comes with some preset templates for various sounds, and then with just a bit of tweaking, you can get the sounds you're after 90% of the time. Here's the Keen 6 sound. And here's my sound. Here's the finished product. It's a nice flexible item drop system where all you need to do is to assign an item to an enemy in the inspector. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It all helps to get the video out there. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.